Boko Haram has committed genocide in Nigeria, and Fulani attacks is becoming genocidal. We have all kinds of attacks in Nigeria: economic attacks, religious attacks, ethnic attacks, territorial attacks, but we have two strands that must be addressed. Fulani militants and Boko Haram. In short, Leah Sharibu is in captivity. Now, when you talk about Fulani militant attacks in Nigeria, then you begin to look at the story in 2013 and 2016 of Fulani attacks in Benue State. Benue State was decimated and is still being decimated, and there is government inaction. We have here today with us Napoleon Adamu, who was directly a victim, and he is here today representing victims in Agatu community in Benue State, Nigeria. He's here today to share because you will remember in 2016 where helicopters supplied arms to Fulani militants to attack communities in Benue State. We approached ECOWAS court on that and we got a judgment. But when you have government of impunity in Nigeria, how do you get justice? Because they don't respect court orders. To that end, I'll bring to this podium Napoleon Adamu, as he's going to appeal to our consciences to begin to see reason why Fulani militants' attacks in Nigeria must be taken seriously. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I bring greetings from the good people of Agatu and indeed Benue State at large. I want to thank God for this privileged opportunity. I think we are like children of providence to be here. We didn't think of it, we didn't dream of it. But God made it a reality. So I appreciate you. The story that is being told from my colleagues previously and the one I'm about to tell you too is not news any longer. The internet has helped. And so many people have visited Nigeria, including Agatu, an interior place. All these things are in the net. We're here only physically to just confirm the reality of the situations on ground. I know in 2013, the whole thing started. We in Agatu, the Agatu people were actually been living or cohabiting with the Fulanis. And what usually happens is, during dry season, we allow them to come and stay. They graze and go back once the rain drops. And they have actually shared that the place is good for them. The grass is quite nutritious, and I think what they are trying to do is to just take over and not anything else. I want to also believe that it's also politically motivated. It's not just a matter of hatred, because if you see the level of the organized attacks that they call on Agatu, you know that it is not an ordinary thing. And the Fulanis that come over to Agatu this time is not the traditional Fulanis that we used to know. And we know that when the Fulanis come, they usually come with their children and their wives. But the ones we have now that come in large number and fully armed. And it's not just small armed. We know Fulanis to be carrying always their long knife and stick. But this time they carry AK-47. The government cannot even, coming on Nigeria, cannot also buy for their own army. And so it is really alarming. In 2013, I actually have records of all the attacks on each of them with date and the number of people killed. I have them in my document here. From 2013 to 2016, in Agatu we have about 17 attacks, different days. And they don't go back without killing people and burning houses. And they chose to even burn houses because they feel that is more difficult for our people to come back and rebuild. And once they build, they burn, their intention is to override the place and take over. When you don't have a house, how do you go back again to settle? So that is their intention, taking over the land. And in other parts of Benue, or about 29 attacks. Bumazis, where our state governor comes from, and other communities that they just once in a while attack. And I thank God for the governor of Benue State has stood his ground and actually openly, publicly in a gathering, dedicated Benue to God. It was an open thing that was done, that Benue belonged to God. I think that is where his struggle started from. And several attacks to ensure that he doesn't come up even the second time that he was seeking re-election. All that also failed because they said he enacted a bill and signed into law prohibiting open grazing. And that actually was a thing that was done against their own interest, because they know what they know and they are used to is carrying their cows to graze from place to place. And as they do that, they don't leave the farmer's land untouched. And once they do it, they destroy the farmlands. And that became a sin for the state governor. But he stood his ground with the support of his legislators, and that bill was signed into law. Now, the Agatu people that had this greatest attack, most of them are homeless. And were people that are actually hardworking farmers and fishermen. But then we don't have anywhere to go again. And we refuse to actually be camped in IDP. We say we don't want to go anywhere. We prefer to sleep under trees. That is where we belong. But leaving the land for other people to come and take over, we resisted. And the grace of God, we are still there, but we are homeless, and we have no voice. Of all these attacks that I have mentioned, they are there with dates. We have never had the federal government making a statement publicly against all this, and that is our worry. At the federal level, we have all the positions that you know of authority taken over by them, so we have no voice. And today we are here. It's not a make-believe story. There are things that we have seen, things that we have felt. And because we have this opportunity, we only want to appreciate the government of the US in the first place for the support you've been giving to Nigeria. But please, apart from the support, I want to also let you know that it is not everybody that is enjoying what you are giving. Others are perishing. Benue is one. Other states in Nigeria are also going through the same trauma, and we want to plead with all of us seated here, whatever you can do, to help save the situation and salvage this our country, Nigeria. It's a good place to be, but it has been made uncomfortable because there are people who feel that they're more superior than others. We have nowhere to run to. And so when we saw this opportunity, we say, okay, God is about answering our prayers. And I know that there's so much you can do to help salvage the nation. God bless you.